Hey all! Amanda here with your full recap of Episode 3 of American Ninja Warrior Season 15, Round 4. This episode was only an hour long and highlighted families of all kinds competing together. The 6 obstacles for Round 4 included the pole vault, followed by grease lightning. The log runner returned as the balance obstacle, and the kite surfer returned as the 4th obstacle of the night. The 5th obstacle was yet another new one, and this was the rumored cubes I had mentioned in my clarifications video. This obstacle consisted of 3 cubes, each made of 2 parts, one that got turned and one that remained stationary. There were several handholds along the edges. On the first cube, athletes had to vertically turn the right side of the cube 180 degrees to lock it into place. They then had to lasso to the second cube and turn the bottom half of the cube 180 degrees. They then lasso to the final cube, where the right half of the cube starts to spin as soon as the athlete grabs the handholds. The first 2 cubes remained still until the athletes started the turning motions themselves. If they managed to hold on and lock the final cube into place, they then lassoed to the landing pad, which leads to the warped wall. Again, this season, athletes must hit a buzzer in under a minute 20 to earn their shot at scaling the 18.5-foot mega wall. If successful, they will win $10,000. As for the competition itself, a real contender to take it all this year, RJ Roman represented Team USA on a German version of what is usually held in America called American Ninja Warrior America vs. the World, where other countries such as Japan and Australia have competed. Tonight, he was able to hit a buzzer in a time of 1:06:55 and just touch the ledge of the mega wall. RJ sits in first place on the leaderboards. Newly married David Bergstrom Wright had his run joined in progress, where he flew up the warped wall and just hit a buzzer in time to earn his shot at the mega wall. His time was a close 1:19:45, and his attempt at the 1K was a little too short. The Cake Ninja sits in second spot. Elijah Browning also had his run joined in progress and was setting a good pace, but had to slow it down slightly crossing the cubes, which cost him his shot at the mega wall. He was able to hit a buzzer with a time of 1:35:34 and sits in third place. This next entry is kind of a double run and will be recapped together, as we saw 2 brothers compete back to back and both made the leaderboards. Adopted from Africa, these 15-year-olds are trained by fellow ninja veteran RJ Roman, and when he says they're the ones to watch, he wasn't kidding. Roberto Garamore ran first, and though he didn't lasso on his stop at the bottom of Grease Lightning, he was somehow able to rebuild enough momentum to lasso to the landing pad. He was the only one who was able to recover from that mistake all night. After that, he flew to the kite surfer, but unfortunately missed the second catch on the first kite and hit the water. However, he was able to secure 9th position. Roberto's brother Naxa Garamore was next to compete and was an even more impressive athlete. Naxa went through the course quickly and without mistakes. He managed the cubes with ease, but came up just shy of the mega wall time, hitting a buzzer at 1:40:03, making him the final competitor to hit a buzzer this round. Naxa sits in 4th spot. Vinny Castronova took 5th spot, but had his run cut from airing. He apparently made it to the cubes in 43.94 seconds. 18-year-old rookie Brandon Thomas had his run digested, where he went out on the cubes. Brandon took 6th spot. Austin Hare also had his run digested, but did a really cool twist to turn the bottom of the second cube. Unfortunately, he fell on the final cube, but was able to take 7th place on the leaderboards. Parkour coach Johnny Brown also had his run digested. He almost completed Kite Surfer, but just missed the grab on the second kite. Johnny took 8th place. As previously mentioned, 15-year-old rookie Roberto Garamore took 9th place. DC Banks had his run digested when he fell from the second kite on Kite Surfer. He sits in 10th spot. Josh Shimanaka took 11th position, though his run was cut from airing. Apparently, he fell on kitesurfer with a time of 34:21. Jason Grossman took 12th place, sending him to the runoffs, though his run was completely cut from airing. He too made it to kitesurfer, but took a little longer, reaching the 4th obstacle in 40.43 seconds. Nigel Henry took 13th place, sending him to the runoffs, though his run was completely cut from airing. Apparently, he bailed on Grease Lightning, but got there in 2.27 seconds. The 4 obstacles that made this round's runoffs included Home Run, the Flying Shelf Grab, Beehive, and Sideways. And unbelievably, this first head-to-head match between Jason Grossman and Nigel Henry was digested. Jason took an early lead, and though Nigel tried his hardest to close the gap, he got hung up on Beehive and hit the water. Jason almost made it through Sideways, but fell. Regardless, Jason Grossman advances to the semifinals. As for the women, it's no surprise that Jessie Graff came back with a vengeance after an early exit last year, where for the first time in a long time, she did not qualify for the semifinals. This year, she took first place on the women's board. She gave us a scare with a short dismount from Grease Lightning, but was able to recover. She made it as far as the cubes, but after a moment of visualization, her right hand missed the handhold on the first cube, and she fell backwards towards the starting pad. Luckily, she landed safely in the water and is heading to the semifinals. The other half of one of this year's many newlyweds, Caitlin Bergstrom Wright, wife to the Cake Ninja and sister to fellow ninja Caleb Bergstrom, Caitlin came out stronger than I remember her in previous seasons. She made it all the way to the cubes, but could not get the first rotation started and hit the water. She did land in second place on the women's leaderboard, though. And surprisingly, JAG officer Jerry Dorilio had her run cut from airing, although we did see a quick peek after returning from a break where she was unable to survive the double drop on Grease Lightning. And even more surprising was that run landed her in 3rd position on the leaderboards, keeping her safe from the runoffs. The 2 women that did have to face in the runoffs both had their runs completely cut from airing. 15-year-old Jaleesa Himka is no stranger to ninja courses, as her mother Suzanne owns a ninja gym and formerly competed and won on American Gladiators. Jaleesa took 4th place. And 17-year-old Amelia Lenardi, who is a high school cheerleader, and landed in 5th place. Both of these women made it as far as Grease Lightning and had to face off for the final spot to the semifinals. And what a run it was! Due to her slight height advantage, Jaleesa was able to cross home run quicker, as Amelia was running with a leg splint on due to an old injury from the previous year. Amelia fought hard to keep up, but Jaleesa remained one move ahead until Sideways, where Jaleesa quickly moved through the obstacle and hit a buzzer to advance to the semifinals. She then turned to cheer on Amelia, who tried to complete the course, but just fell on the back half of Sideways. Just some more things I love about this show. The need to complete a course, even when there's no reward other than their own personal satisfaction, and that even though it's a competition, every athlete cheers on the others. A truly beautiful community. Other competitors that ran but did not advance include Jessie Graff's 71-year-old mother and former actress Ginny McCall, who not only made her debut, but also broke the record for the oldest competitor to complete an obstacle when she fought to stay above water on the pole vault and actually rode Grease Lightning without falling. However, when she failed to dismount at the end of the track, she was unable to regain momentum for the lâché, and though she fought to find a way out, she eventually had to let go. Nikki Zink also fell on Grease Lightning, where she leaned too far back when she went to dismount and bounced off the landing and back into the water. Her run was digested. Rookie and cop Brentnall Baker was one of many tonight that failed to let go at the end of the Grease Lightning track, and though he fought to regain momentum, he was unable to lâché to the landing pad and eventually belly flopped to the water below. His run was digested. Evan Purpuris also had his run digested where he too went out on Grease Lightning. He too leaned too far back when making his dismount, and though he tried to right himself midair, he had to put his hands out to protect his face from smashing into the landing pad. And even though Glenn Davis was celebrating his 60th birthday that night, he too had his run digested. He just came up short on his dismount from Grease Lightning, where his feet just skimmed the side of the landing pad as he descended to the water below. Joel Neeb also had his run digested, where he as well leaned way too far back, and when his heels hit the landing pad, it sent him headfirst into the water below. And, in a very emotional retirement run, firefighter and one half of the Towers of Power, Brandon Mears took to the course for his last time in 10 years. I was so scared that he would once again fall on the balance obstacle, which had been a sticking point for years, but my heart just broke for him when he failed to dismount from Grease Lightning and could barely stand to watch as he struggled to regain momentum. But it was not to be. Brandon eventually had to let go of the nunchuck and say goodbye. What a shame of an ending. And Lane Shabazz, whose parents both ran on season 4, had her run digested, where she fought to ascend the pole on pole vault, but when she tried to back crawl her way up the landing platform, her feet dropped and hit the water, ending her season on the first obstacle. It looks like 4 other men should have competed, but were cut from airing. So that's your complete recap for episode 3, round 4 of American Ninja Warrior, season 15. Make sure not to miss any of the episodes this summer by tuning into NBC every Monday night. Check your local listings for showtimes. And remember to come back afterwards for another full recap with theories and commentary thrown in along the way. And speaking of, if you have any thoughts on the show that you'd like to share, please feel free to use the comment section below. And of course, until next time, enjoy the show!